There it is.
There we go.
All right, so maybe I can't steal time. But, so I'm going to talk about student activism in Greensboro then and now. And so Greensboro has a reputation for being progressive compared to other southern cities. But this reputation really is belied by the city being slow to take action on major social issues in the past and present. So talking the talk but not walking the walk. So for example, though the Greensboro School Board was the first city in the South to say it would integrate in 1954, right after Brown versus Board of Education, the city did not actually desegregate until 1971 when it was forced to by a federal lawsuit. So 17 years after the Brown decision. In his book, Civility and Civil Rights, William Chafe writes that a progressive mystique with civility and paternalism as its cornerstone was a way of dealing with people and problems that made good manners more important than substantial action. And that is, this progressive mystique has been central and is pretty deeply entrenched in Greensboro. So Chafe also writes that blacks understood that this civility involved deferential poses that they had to strike in order to keep jobs, and also the chilling power of consensus to crush efforts to raise issues of racial justice. In this context, over the years, students have pushed past this chilling consensus and chilling civility and actually led their elders in protests that led to major improvements in the lives of people in Greensboro, both outside and inside the Guilford bubble. The most famous example, of course, is and I really want to highlight this, people are surprised by this, 4 college freshmen. 4 college freshmen at North Carolina A&T University. 1960, February 1st, 1960, sat down at the segregated Woolworth's lunch counter and started the student phase of the Civil Rights Revolution. So after that, city leaders dragged their feet to actually push desegregation to happen. And so students ramped up their activism. And between May 11th and June 7th, 1963, there were unprecedented demonstrations that rocked Greensboro. During one period, 1,400 protesters were arrested because they were trying to integrate movie theaters. At one point, there were only 4 white students who tried to integrate the S&W cafeteria, 4 white students from Guilford College. I can only find 2 pictures. These were 2 of the young men. There were also 2 women. That's the arrest record of one of the young women. It was Beth Taylor, Eleanor Dick, Charles Briggs, and Dick Ward, all 18 and 19 years old. So these 18 days of protests got desegregation started in earnest. And bowling alleys desegregated, that black public employees were promoted, restaurants were desegregated. It was a period of a lot of movement. But frustrations around the exclusion of blacks from economic and political mainstream came to a head again in 1969. Oh, I'm sorry, let me back up. On this one, so there was desegregation, but institutionalized racism continued. And a black minister said, what the hell, if people can't afford food on their table at home, it matters not that they can eat at the fancy little restaurants in Greensboro. So came to a head the frustrations in 1969, another period of a lot of organizing, and again, students led the way. Dudley High School, historic black high school, wanted to elect Claude Barnes as their student president. The leaders of the high school said, no, you can't elect him because he was an activist. And they said, no. Students protested, joined up with A&T students, and protested what happened, boycotted the high school. And the mayor of Greensboro called in the National Guard. And a student, Willie Grimes, was shot and killed. And that's like the oldest unsolved case in the Greensboro Police Department. Walls That Bleed is a movie that's been made, a documentary about that. So fast forward, 1991, students played a key role in organizing in support of Kmart workers for fair wages. And there were many Guilford students involved in that initiative, as well as students from other campuses, along with the beloved Community Center played a key role in that. Also, students were very involved in support of the Greensboro Truth and Reconciliation Commission that happened in between 2000 and 2006 that was trying to increase understanding and healing of the killing of 5 labor organizers by Klan members and neo-Nazis during this anti-Klan rally in 1979. So students in Greensboro have also been involved in DREAM Act organizing, immigration, farm worker organizing, anti-racism work, and were central to the Occupy Greensboro movement just a couple of years ago. And currently students are organizing also along issues of police accountability and professionalism, which is a long-standing issue in Greensboro. And this is a picture of a meeting at Bennett College. There's Chief Miller, the police chief, and students who've been joined together. There's a Facebook page on this. The Youth and Student Coalition for Police Accountability is working on that issue now. And students are also uniting across campuses against the recent laws passed by North Carolina legislators that threaten voting rights, access to health care, and a lot of other major concerns. And so there's an organization, Student Power. And I recently heard actually that the heads of student senates from different campuses in Greensboro are coming together to organize. All right, so all this has happened, all this great work, vision from students, but is the work over? No. This is Greensboro, y'all. And the blue dots represent whites, the green dots represent blacks, and then red's Asian, yellow, Hispanic, and other racial groups. What do you see here? Greensboro is still very, very segregated in East and West Greensboro. And also, I didn't get to read it, but there are big discrepancies economically. This is a quote from Dietrich Bonhoeffer. We are not to simply bandage the wounds of victims beneath the wheels of injustice. We are to drive a spoke in the wheel itself. And I like that because I felt that, so there is much to be done. What will be the legacy of your generation of students in Greensboro? What stories will be told about your efforts down the road and about how you drove a spoke into the wheels of injustice of our city? The city's waiting for you. Thanks.